Before we start this show, just a word from our sponsor, 20 by 20 Apparel. Founded in 2015, 20 by 20 Apparel brings original tributes to pro wrestling's classic arenas, moments, and events. They look to spotlight the bloopers, bleeps, and body slams along with the biggest, smallest, strangest, and strongest that pro wrestling has had to offer. Along with their awesome line of pro wrestling apparel, they do offer many services. In the world of wrestling, there are hundreds of shirts, promotions, flyers, social media accounts, and ads. Don't get lost in the sea of parody shirts and display fonts. They can provide professional graphic design services at a reasonable price. 20 by 20 also hand screen prints all the tees in-house. If you would like to discuss possible run of tees, posters, koozies, foam fingers, or whatever, drop them a line. Go to 20 by 20 Apparel. That's the number 20x, the number 20 apparel.com. Now, let's get to the show.
Fresh is the word.
I'm Jim Duggan, got long wood for plenty hoes. I keep it fresher than fresh, but you already know. You suckers bummy, I'm money, I got a ton of flows. My weed loud like a motherfucking thunder roll. Your shit quiet like you ballin' on a budget though. We see your kicks and we laugh and yellin' what are those. You see me shining like a suit on puffy. You know my grindin' shit is too strong, buddy. That's why the dude call money. I be stuntin' like it's nothing at all. Cause it's nothing to me, it's probably something to y'all. Trying to smoke like me, then come and fuck with your dog. Got a closet full of kicks, you can't cop at the mall. And I'm fresher than the freshest, you can tell it's in my essence. Bitch, you see the way I'm rapping, yes I do this shit to death. I tell I'm running out of breath, I tell somebody cut a check. But either way you know it's fresh, and either way you know it's fresh. Fresh, we fresh. Fresh, goddammit, we fresh.
Welcome to the Fresh is the Word podcast. I'm your host, Kelly K. Fresh Frazier. And on Fresh is the Word, we like to deliver wisdom through great stories from the minds of bright creatives of pop culture. Through those stories, we like to dissect the journey of our guests and present actionable lessons and advice for our listeners, no matter what career or avenue of artistry they pursue. And before we get into this episode, I want to give a shout out to Knox Money, Bang Belushi, and Foulmouth for the theme music for Fresh is the Word. And if you would like to support the podcast, you can always go to freshisthepodcast.com and just share any of the links for any of the episodes on any of your social media platforms. And also, you can subscribe to Fresh is the Word pretty much anywhere that podcasts are streamed. And that includes Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, pretty much everywhere. And please rate and review, especially on Apple Podcasts. It will definitely help out the show. If you want to contact me, you can always reach me by email at djkfresh@gmail.com. Or you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at KFresh is the Word, and on Facebook at facebook.com/KFresh. And you can also follow Fresh is the Word on Twitter at Fresh is the Word, and that's is with an IZ, Instagram at Fresh is the Word Podcast, and Facebook at facebook.com/Fresh is the Podcast. This is episode 154. The guest for this episode is April Washko and Lyindaa Russell from the TV series Chair Gang, with new episodes each week on Facebook Watch. Created by Washko and filmed in Michigan, Chair Gang is described as stepping into the personal and professional lives of the stylists of Ebert's Salon and Spa. You get a first-hand look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. Along with creating Chair Gang, April Washko wears many hats in the production of the show as the HBIC. Along with her role as the fiery Alyssa, who's got a bit of a short fuse that speaks her mind. And Lyindaa Russell plays the sly, stylish, and manipulating Bree. During our chat, we talked about how Chair Gang came to be, creating opportunities for other people, their creative beginnings, trying to stand out, learning from your experiences, collaboration versus competition, creative responsibilities on set, and much more. But before we get into this episode with these two amazing ladies, I definitely want to remind you how you can support the podcast. Support Fresh is the Word via Patreon at patreon.com/freshisthe-word. And for as little as $1 a month, you too can help me, K Fresh, and Fresh is the Word. So go to patreon.com/fresh is the word. There's all sorts of monthly tiers that you can sign up for and pledge to. And some of them you can even be a part of the podcast. So once again, go to patreon.com/fresh is the word. All right, let's get on to the interview with April Washko and Lyindaa Russell from the TV series Chair Gang. All right, we're here at the Fresh is the Word studios. I've never been able to say that, but somebody actually came by the crib to do a podcast interview. We're here with a couple of the lovely ladies of the Chair Gang TV show from Facebook Watch. Go ahead and introduce yourselves and what you do on the show.
So my name is April Washko, and I am the creator and executive producer of the Facebook Watch series Chair Gang, and I also play Alyssa.
Hi, I'm Lyindaa Russell. I play Bree on the show, and I feel compelled to spell my name Lyindaa because I recreated myself as a Norwegian goddess not too long ago, and that's how I roll.
That's fantastic.
She did too. She really did.
That's already an interesting backstory.
Yeah, a real sweet resume, like asterisk.
Like I'm. All right, that's cool. We'll dive into that at one point. We'll dive back into how you're a Norwegian princess. Goddess. Oh, sorry.
Let's get it right.
Goddess. All right. Okay. Talk about what Chair Gang is. What's your idea? What was your idea about starting this show?
So I started acting just as an actor, period, a little bit over 10 years ago. And, I did everything you're supposed to, moved out to California, went to New York, went to Chicago, did all that fun stuff. And it just wasn't happening, And it was very well before the days of streaming, too.
Right.
So, I did everything you're supposed to. You get an agent and you get your headshots and you go to auditions and you do all of those things. And it just wasn't producing the results that I wanted. Or what was being presented to me were things that I wasn't going to take. Nudity, the other woman, oh, sorry, you're going to be constantly seen as, a stripper or whatever. So next, which is, I would never do that. So I started exploring my options beyond acting and had some friends, had friends that were doing behind the scenes work, producing, directing, things like that. And slowly but surely on different sets, I just made it a point to be like, hey, what are you doing? And instead of sitting in my trailer all day, can I follow you?
Yeah, good idea.
Can you teach me what you're doing? Everyone from audio to grip to camera. And they let me do it. There were some sets, of course, where there was the rules where you can't.
Right.
I can't just go load a grip truck on some sets like I wanted to. But
yeah, there's rules and stuff like that.
An actor can't, whatever. So I did that, and I did it as much as I could, and then started producing independent films and things like that. Then I started learning marketing from friends that did marketing and advertising, and it came to a point where I moved back here because there were just no more options out there, too crowded for me, all that. And streaming was getting big, so you don't have to be out there.
Yeah, right.
Not like you did a long time ago.
Yeah, people can make their stuff anywhere, and
that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, it's great. We're in a great time right now where it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether it's music, movies, art, whatever, you can do it wherever you want to. Absolutely.
And I feel like there's such a thirst for originality that the independent community provides.
Yeah.
And it's not just a recycled version, there's always going to be respect paid to other things and things that feel like are similar too, but
when you get into that machine, like in LA or New York, there's kind of I would assume there's a bit like of a cutthroatness between people, whereas in comparison to the independent scene where everybody's just kind of trying to do their own thing, that there is kind of, and I've been seeing in the comic book scene, is that there is camaraderie between people.
Yeah.
And everybody if one person succeeds, that could help out everybody.
Absolutely. It's very much a collaboration over competition. And that's the name of my game. And so when I moved back here from there, I'm like, sweet, okay, streaming, let me get into this. This is the thing. And a lot of friends that were also starting to move back that had been in California,
Right.
they're like, forget this. They were saying, you need to do your own thing. Everyone's doing their own thing. Do your own thing. Make a movie, do whatever. And I'm like, no, I can't because, I just can't. I don't know how. I've never done that. I don't have $9 million for a red camera to shoot 5. Just
Yeah.
what it makes you feel like you have to do. And then it just came to a point where I think the universe just put me up against a wall and was like, so this is what you're supposed to do? And it was just kind of pushed into my face repetitively, and it was a complete moment of surrender when I just said, all right, fine. If this career is not for me, then I release it. I totally release this career.
But at least you should try.
Right. And in the releasing, then it was kind of like, okay, so here it is,
Here it is, yes.
And so I said, all right, fine. I'll try it. I'll just see what happens. I might not be good. It might not go anywhere. And here we are.
Right. What I've noticed, thus far, when you whether it's the stuff that you post online or the the Instagram videos, the Facebook videos, is that you definitely want to not only make this show a success, but also create opportunities for other people, but also kind of take your own experiences, some of the hardships in your life, and put them out there so other people can learn from them. What's your thoughts about just doing all this to help other people and creating a community where you can actually put other people on?
That is the only reason I do it. I've always questioned the notion that people have. I guess maybe I question the belief that people have in the film industry and any arts industry that says this is really hard. Because really the absolute foundation of the entire craft, can we curse on this podcast?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's fucking pretend. You know what I'm saying?
All of it's pretend stuff.
Literally, yes. You're not doing heart surgery. You're not literally in charge of whether or not a family is going to see their father, brother, sister, mother, cousin again. You are not. You're literally playing pretend.
We're all making stuff up.
Yes. This is creative. It's supposed to be playing. It's supposed to be. Yes, there's a huge aspect of business behind it that people forget. But the foundation is playing pretend. Why is it? Oh, this is such a hard industry to break into. Why? I really don't see a reason why we can't give everyone a chance. It doesn't mean they're going to be good.
Right.
It doesn't mean that's going to be for them. They can try acting. They might hate it and be like, you know what? The dedication, the demand, the whatever is not for me, but I like this industry. I've always wanted to try writing. Sweet. Awesome. You can do that. I don't understand why we don't do that for more people. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to use this as a space to give everyone as big of an opportunity as they want. And in any creative industry, as I mentioned, there's a whole business side that most people do not understand. And it's very business heavy to be successful and make a living and, do your things and all that. And that does not mean everyone's going to come with you, because a lot of people see the demand and they realize they can't do it.
Right.
It's hard. It's every day. It's 24/7. It's not, especially doing a series. It's not like a one-off film.
Right.
It's every single week. So, yeah, it's a lot of work, but I want to do my part to help other people. That doesn't mean, they're going to take it and soar, but to give them the opportunity to do so. So that's what I hope for.
Okay, over here to the Norwegian goddess.
Hi, Norwegian goddess here.
How is, what has been your, how did you sort of break into wanting to be an actress, be into anything creative? What's sort of your background?
Actually, I started in middle school. I took an elective. It was a it was an acting elective. And I had to pick one, and the choices were a little douchey, but it was
always are.
But then one of them was acting, and I thought, really? Okay, cool. I guess I'll do this one. And I had a really good teacher. He was just funny and helpful and creative and kind and everything that you want your favorite teacher to be. And our end of the year project, so to speak, was we did a little play, put on a little play, but it was totally scripted by him. It wasn't, Shakespeare or anything. It's just something he made up, a bunch of skits. And I remember getting up on stage and going up to the microphone because it was a mock spelling bee type thing. And hearing and feeling the audience's reaction to me in a positive way, like, oh, I'm successful. I did something successfully, and it was acting. And he made me do that. All I did was do exactly what he told me to do, and it worked. And so I was like, I can do this. Oh, I think I'm an actor. And then toward the end of the year, he said, you know what? Performing Arts High School is having open auditions. It's coming up. If you want to audition for that high school, I can help you with your audition material. And I thought, why not? So he did. And a couple of other kids from that elective did too. And a couple of us made it in. And I was like, yeah, I'm an actor. I was just so blown away with myself. So long story short, I just want to say that acting was one of those things just right in the beginning of my youth that got me excited and gave me a way to communicate with people my age that I hadn't been able to before. I was always, oh, come on, middle school, everybody's second guessing everything about themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it was a nice time to just find something about myself that was like kind of awesome and that I could do and do well.
How did all of that sort of, like you just said, a normal teenager is just confused about themselves. How did acting sort of help you with that?
I want to say that I always had a belief about myself and didn't really care about what other people thought. And it made me seem standoffish, cold, stuck up, etc. Girls wanted to kick my ass on the daily. I didn't even know them. So yeah, that was my life. And then it was the transition to Performing Arts High School that was kind of the breaking point, because I want to say at Performing Arts High School, everybody's talented. Everybody has their own thing. Everyone's super individually cool in and of themselves.
Right.
I'm just, I didn't stick out at all at that school, regardless of how talented I was or thought I was or anything I thought about myself, because everyone was. And so I think I found my clan, so to speak.
So you felt more comfortable in the performing arts?
Oh, absolutely.
School.
Because did you ever see the movie Fame?
It's been a long time, but
I think we wanted to be that. I mean,
everybody was so extra.
Yeah. I mean, even though the movie was made about that actual school, I think that as students, we wanted it to really be that very specifically. And so
everybody was just super extra.
So extra, dancing on the tables at lunchtime and in the hallways, and just bring it on every day and loving
you can
it.
laugh out loud if you want. She's over here. April's over here laughing, but she's like laughing quietly. Like,
yeah.
So transitioning from going to a performing arts school, like, was there, at what point did you feel like that you wanted to do this more seriously than just going to school for it?
Oh, I thought I wanted to do it seriously from the get-go. From that moment in Performing Arts High School, there were quite a few students who were working, auditioning. I'm going to say auditioning, and some had already done a gig or two here and there. And we were all in awe of them, like,
Yeah.
did you know she was on the Cosby Show? What?
Yo,
right?
you gotta, he's on a T. Oh shoot,
right?
TV on a commercial, yo. Oh man, you hear about my man?
Yeah. And so everyone I believe most of us just took off from there and pursued it from there. But I fell in love with someone who had a business in Columbus, Ohio. And that was a major detour for me after school. Moved to Columbus, Ohio. And here's the thing that happened. There's nothing going on in Columbus, Ohio, acting wise. There's nothing.
I mean,
nothing's happening.
You could act in like a Ohio State commercial or something. I don't know.
True, but it's not the
You can
kind
be a
of thing
Buckeye.
that, I mean, I wasn't dreaming of acting in Columbus, Ohio when I was going to high school. You know,
You'd be a
that wasn't-
Buckeye. I don't know.
Right? Yeah. But
I don't know. Do the Buckeyes got cheerleaders or something? I don't know. You could
I
have been.
have no idea. I'm so not a sports fan.
All right, that's fine. It's
Not my thing.
You know, we don't like the Buckeyes here in
I
Michigan.
like tennis
So
only because they grunt really well when they like smashing the ball. That's my favorite part.
That's great.
And when they throw the racket.
that is a great thing about tennis. And
Yeah.
that is like they.
And have you ever seen them dive for the ball and they actually land on I want to say blacktop, but it's not blacktop, but
It's like a clayish thing.
and
Yeah.
they land. I mean, they're just diving in midair for a little yellow ball.
Yeah.
I love it.
Tennis real, man. Tennis is real.
is really real.
It's real. It's
Yes.
It's not no fake sport, man. It's real. You know.
Yeah,
Shout out to all of them, man.
all of them.
Yeah. we learned so much.
But yeah, so what happened in Columbus, Ohio was so there's nothing going on, and I'm a little despondent, but I'm thinking, you know, one day, someday, I will do the thing. I'll figure it out. You know, it's just, you know, put a pin in it. It's back there. I'll work it out. I'll figure it out. This is what happened. John Travolta brought his movie to Columbus, Ohio, and had the whole thing shot in Columbus, and my mind was blown.
Wait, which movie was that?
I Am Wrath. It went straight to video. I think Redbox or something like
I've
that.
never heard of that.
Well, I didn't
Have you
care.
heard of that,
I'm
April?
like,
No,
I'm
all
like,
right.
Travolta
But
is
Travolta's in town.
shooting the whole not he's
Wait.
coming to Columbus for a few scenes. The whole movie.
Was this before Pulp Fiction though?
No, after.
Okay,
After.
so he had his comeback. You know, he was kind of
Oh yeah, he's
he was back into it all.
yeah, he's doing his own little independent thing
Okay,
for
okay.
his own profit, you know, just cranking them
It
out.
probably would have been worse if it was before Pulp Fiction when he was
You don't know that.
off the radar.
You don't know that, dude. You don't know. Anyway, we're not going to start. Okay, reeling it back.
Reeling back. Yeah, no John Travolta hate, I guess.
I got excited. I'm thinking there's no way that an entire movie is going to be shot in Columbus and I'm not going to be in it. So I real quick dug up a photo of myself and fabricated the best resume I could.
Yes.
And submitted it, and I got cast as an extra, and I was so on fire. I'm like, it has begun. It has begun.
It has begun.
Yeah.
I am an actress.
Right. I just signed up for some classes and then signed with an agent in Columbus and then started doing some stuff and submitted for bunches and bunches and bunches of stuff, including Chair Gang. Oh my goodness. When I first saw an episode of Chair Gang as part of my research, you know, because, you know, you try and find out as much about the project as you can
Right.
before you submit for it. I watched episode 1. 10 seconds into episode 1, I'm like, yes! Oh my God. It was The Office, but with women, all women. And it was so awesome. I loved the style of shooting, and I loved April's performance because she appeared in the first 30 seconds.
Same.
Yeah. So I was in love right away, and I thought, yes, definitely. I want to be a part of this. And so I submitted and crossed my fingers, and yay, I got cast in it.
Talk about the casting, situation of getting on Chair Gang. You know, your experience.
It was awesome. Please, elaborate.
When you got like contacted back about it, you know, what did you have to do next? You know, who did you talk to? You know, what did they just be like? Yo, just come here and act. You know?
Oh, no. Oh, so many things, so many preliminaries. April was my go-to.
How was it when you first met April?
When I first met
Was
April,
she intimidating?
it was all it was all online, and it was back and forth emails and texts, and intimidating. I want to say impressively intimidating, because you want to be intimidated. I mean, gosh, blow me away, show me some shit, you know.
Right, like right.
Let you know, engender some emotion in me that makes me want to go, damn, okay.
Like you want to fight, yeah, you want to know they got their shit together, but then
not
you want
that you want to fuck them, but that you want to be in the show, and that it's an awesome show.
But no, you want to be able to, like, okay, I want to follow this person. Whatever they tell me to do on the show, I want to be able to
and
like
so,
trust this person.
Yeah,
and I know they got their shit together. You
right. That April stood out in that of all the people that I had worked with in independent projects, she had her shit together. She had a clear vision. She was working her ass off, had been working her ass off for a long time, and was doing the thing. And the vision was not just I want to, but it was like, check, did that, next, check, doing that, next. I mean, it was definite, obvious forward momentum, and I could see the end from the beginning, and I just never wavered in my belief that this was something that I wanted to be a part of.
Now, April,
I paid her to say that. No, I'm kidding.
no, I believe she's telling the truth. You know, I trust you. Mm-hmm. I trust you. April didn't have to pay her. No, I don't think so. But talk about the beginnings of Chair Gang. You know, sort of like the inception of it. You know, what you want to do with it. You know, how was there any ideas? You know, what was sort of the idea process when starting it?
I had a writer friend that writes for television shows in California years and years and years ago, mentioned to me to figure out a couple ideas. Just think of some stuff. And I'm like, it's hard. And he's like, no, it's for real. Like, figure something out and write it down. Just a random ass idea. Tell me right now, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you in your life? And immediately, because I did work for years as a licensed hairstylist, so I didn't have to be a waitress in California and all that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Get my shortcut onto set. I was like, well, I worked in a salon one time where this kid literally, like, probably 13, 14-year-old kid pulled his pants down and took a shit in the middle of the lobby. Like, I'm talking, there's people around. And my friend was like, what? And I'm like, yeah, that literally really happened. And he goes, okay, so, like, why aren't you writing that? That needs to be written. And I'm like, I don't know how. I'm not a writer. You know. And he's like, I don't give a shit. Just write it down. Like, that's a good idea. Can you think of anything else? I'm like, oh, my God, yeah. Some guy smeared shit all over the walls. Other people are peeing on things. Some guy came in and was, like, throwing underwear at someone. And he's like, okay, just write all of that down.
All the weird shit that happened while you were working there.
Right. Just write it all down and see what happens. So I did. I wrote, like, a small little first episode thing. It wasn't what we ended up making into the first episode, but just kind of in my mind to have a placeholder of, like, this was an idea.
Yeah.
And the years and years later, when I was faced with my reality from the world, I was like, okay. I remember very clearly I was sitting in my room, and, you know, nothing was on or whatever, and I was just, like, in release, surrender, you know, like, whatever I'm supposed to do, I'm going to do. And as clear as you hear me right now, I heard the words, that salon thing. And I was like, well, all right then, I guess that's what I'm about to do. So I pulled it up and I just said, I don't know how I'm supposed to start this, but okay, let me Google how the hell to start this shit and just call some mentors, you know, and figure it out. Right. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened. We just started writing shit down. And
after you know, had some stuff written down and kind of, you know, flushed out all these ideas, what was the first thing you did to make it happen?
The very first thing I knew instinctively was two very important things. One, I didn't want to do anything like anyone else was doing that I knew of. By way of actual production, distribution, getting it out there, I want to do something totally different, because at least the circles I had worked in and what I had worked on, as beautiful and marvelous as it is for me personally in my journey and vision and my goals, I felt like it in the community I was in was very much a doing the same thing over and over again is the definition of insanity.
Yeah, and I feel like with your show, you're the first person to be like, hey, I have a show on Facebook, watch. Even then, that was different to me. It was very unique, made me more interested. Because other people would be like, yo, I have something on YouTube or something else, or on some streaming service. But you're the first person I was like, we got this thing on Facebook, watch. And I'm like, you know what? No one's ever said that to me.
It's awesome, isn't it? It's cool. I love Facebook.
Ever said that to me, that they have something on Facebook Watch? So I'm like, that's interesting enough,
Yeah, and Facebook Watch is such a wonderfully supportive company. They are so about it. They'll comment on our stuff like queens. Like they watch our episodes. They're really awesome. I really, really like being a part of their platform. But even like in the very beginning, I didn't know I was gonna be. I didn't know that's what I was going to do, is be on Facebook Watch. I was just like, okay, I want to get all these episodes written first, have a whole backlog of episodes like you're supposed to do. That way it's airing while you're filming something else, and you don't have to worry about, oh my God, in 2 days we need to get this whole thing done and put out there. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was just a process and a learning curve, and just trusting that whatever happened was what was supposed to happen. And then Facebook Watch came about, and I was like, oh my God, yes. I always felt kind of in my soul something about Facebook Watch. Just like, right. I feel like that's great. It's brand new. There's no one on it. I feel personally like YouTube is, it's getting into potentially a whole nother side of it, but it's not about where you're showing something really. It's about our audience. What is your demographic, and where are they? And our audience is on Facebook. So that made sense. It's like, cool, awesome. We're not a beauty tutorial or a short little comedy thing. We're an actual series that's scripted with real actors, and that's more supportive of Facebook Watch. And that's where our audience is, our age group, all that.
It's a bigger age group, whereas YouTube might be something more for a younger audience.
Yeah.
So that's why, I think Facebook Watch is actually a good home for you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
During this whole process of getting, episodes written, getting it off the ground, what was some of the things that you learned about yourself during that time?
I don't know that I've ever been able to properly identify a panic attack before. I think I'm playing. For real, it's hard. What did I learn about myself? I learned that you can make decisions and say no without needing to explain yourself or have anyone else support it. I learned that...
louder in the back.
Yeah.
For them people in the back.
Yeah, say it louder for the... There's some people back there, they might not have heard it.
Right, you can say no without needing to explain yourself or be supported on it. That was hard. Because doing something like this, there are so many decisions that aren't necessarily anyone else's business when you're working with so many people. An issue that may arise between you and another person, or just a person, period, on a cast, or something that's happening. You need to make a decision without making all of their business personal and out in the air that they are not okay with, but that's fine because it's going to screw everything up. You just make the correct decisions that you need to make without needing to worry about how other people feel about it. I learned that there are amazingly wonderful people in this industry and in this world that will support you and love you through your work and your learning. But unfortunately, it does ring a little bit true that some of those people pretend to support you don't. And that you will really quickly, when you get some success, find out who the hell your friends are. As soon as you start becoming something, even people that were close to you see that and get bitter.
Right.
And that was very interesting. I remember when our fan base and our audience started really growing, and organically, I mean, people from Australia, and I don't know, we got a real big Ohio fan base, and you know, just all over the U.S. and like New Zealand and all of these places, and it's like the real, you know, what you sit and think like, holy shit, this is happening all at once, and things just start happening, and then you see people that you once maybe were like wanted to go to share your success.
Yes.
Want nothing to do with you anymore.
Isn't it weird that like these people that you don't know, who like whose your work gives them joy, like make you happier than your friends?
Yeah.
Like,
and,
that's crazy, and just like you want to share this success with your friends, and they're just not there, for whatever reason.
I have realized there's an enormous fascination for me psychologically with people that are like that, because really, if you dive into it, it has nothing. I mean, we can go real deep into it, but depending the friend it is, it's not even really a friend. That's a trauma bond. So, this person, and then that goes into the whole, what is a celebrity? What does a celebrity mean and entail? Because really, the only thing that it creates that desire is the elusiveness, and you're not elusive to a friend that you see all the time.
Right.
So they kind of don't care, whereas somebody down the 2-3 states away is so obsessed with your work, and you're looking at your friends going, why the hell can't like, literally, if you want to go to the bare bones of using this as an example, it's free. You push a button, for God's sake, so share my shit, you're my friend. And
right.
They won't even do it. It's because like they don't really care as much as like whatever Kim Kardashian is doing, because they don't know her. It's
right.
that huge elusiveness and the numbers and popularity, and they're like, well, I see you all the time, who cares?
And I think there's a weirdness, like there's a thing where it's like before these things happen, whether it's success with things, whether it's just getting your own life right, you bonded with this person in a weird way.
Yes.
It could have been just with like going out and drinking
Yes.
or something, but then you're a changed person.
Yes.
And you kind of realize some of their shit is just not up to par.
Yes.
And you might even call them upon it, and then they feel attacked, because you're not that same person anymore.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? Like, maybe we weren't friends to begin with, or we were friends for all the wrong reasons.
That trauma bonding.
Dude, it's real.
It's
real.
It's some shit, but it's real. It is. You sit with these people, and you realize like this is someone I would talk to every, I don't know, Saturday or whatever the hell, just throwing it about, oh my God, my dreams and my goals and my aspirations, and then you really start doing it, and then you represent to them an image of what success is that they can't attain, and you reflect back to them everything qualities they don't have, or you know what I mean, and then they start getting bitter, and it's
right.
just about them, but they take it out on you. So like you said, exactly, it's just you change, and you change your vibration and shift. And even in projects, I think it's important to say for any creative people out there, especially certain things that are going on now with audiences and people demanding changes of shows and things and
oh God,
all kinds of stuff. It's, I know a lot of people myself that work with you have a project, a film, a series, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And those people can seep into that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're coming there to see if you're going to fail. And
Yep.
when you're not, they're out. They're the people that, and that's okay. Because I've even known a lot of people on different projects in my life that have, called me to be like, hey, can I talk to you, whatever. God, I just had so-and-so walk off, or so-and-so, just say they hate the project, just like random stuff, which when you see it, let's say in the media, when someone leaves something, it's some media spun story by a publicist, so you don't really know what it was.
Right.
But it's, there's also those instances where people will filter into your project, and the same types of trauma bonded people, they come to think like, okay, it's another little piddly project that isn't going to be anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
right.
cool, because I can still do me. I can still do whatever shitty activities I did on the side while I was dreaming about being a filmmaker or an actor. But then when you're like, no, it's not like that. It's at this level and it requires this work. They're like, okay, well, F you, I'm out.
Right. Yeah, over the past year and a half, I've been doing a lot of things to better myself, going to a therapist, and I feel like my life in the past year and a half has been so much better. I've been doing, a lot of cool things with the podcast, expanded my audience, the types of people. And now I look back at, like, people that were in my life before, and I'm like, I'm kind of, like, when you just say an idea, when you're just kind of, like, brainstorming ideas with your friends, now I'm looking back, and I'm like, yo, I hate all these people because they were, sort of putting down my ideas in a certain way.
Yes.
Like, instead of putting down, how about, we all go, okay, how can we make this happen?
Yes.
Even if it's like, hey, I wanted to, I've always been someone that's always wanted to, like, move to Toronto. And I always get to think, well, it's just expensive there. Or there's always something, It doesn't matter what it comes. There's always something that someone wants to say. How about we just say, how can we make this happen?
Yeah, how can we support you in that dream?
Yeah, what information do you need to make that dream a little bit closer?
But those people are people that just can't do it themselves, but they want to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that has that shit to say to you is somebody that secretly really wants to do it, but doesn't have your drive or dedication.
Right.
They're mad and bitter about it, which, isn't to take away from, I know that this is definitely a worthwhile topic because so many people deal with it in their work, in their personal lives, whatever. But I feel also that so many of us is just a society, especially when you're in an industry like this where you do have to deal with critics and criticism and things like that. We, for some reason, are always so much more enamored with the critics than the supporters.
Yeah, it's nuts. You could have like 100 people saying, yo, your shit was tight, I love it. But that one person that said, yo, that shit sucks, will like ruin your day for
Yeah, and then
forever.
That's like all you talk about. Do you know what I mean? I mean, just in life for like a week. You'll be like, oh, God, Shelby, I can't believe that son of a bitch, Whereas, like, you're not really supporting all these amazing people that were way more outweighed the bad, So remembering those in a moment of frustration or when people decide to be shitty like that is very important as well.
Yeah, and I come from being a part of music scenes, and there was a lot of that in it. It was a lot of smiles, but no real support. There's a few people you always meet that are real, 100%. They'll be down, but a lot of people you're just like you can't talk to about anything. You realize you don't have nothing in common with except for going out and getting drunk all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a lot of But then the past year or so that I've been meeting more like independent DIY, like creators of whatever, whether it's like comic book creators, illustrators, whatever. All these people kind of work together, and they kind of like everybody has their own struggles, but they're all kind of uplifting each other and always focusing on the good parts. Focusing on your supporters. And just kind of being like, okay, that person didn't like it, so whatever. We gotta.
Right.
We gotta uplift each other.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the name of the game. It's collaboration over competition. There's enough room for everybody.
There's more than enough room for everybody. Like, don't let anybody else tell you there's like a slot or a whatever.
Yeah.
There's room for all of us.
Not only that, but you could be doing something and need people to help you out.
Right.
In one aspect or another, like needing extras on set to be.
And I remember
this, that, or the
people.
other
I
thing.
remember people that are good people, man. I remember people who are shitty. So that's why, like, even if I met you like years ago, I'll remember the cool people. You know what I'm saying? So you never know who's watching, man. You never know who's gonna come up later on down the line.
Exactly. And I mean, you're looking for people now, and now you're reaching out. Before it was, oh, I'm doing my thing. You're not supporting me? Okay, cool, but I'm still doing my thing. And people are going, oh, well, okay. But now you need people. And where are they? And you're reaching out. Hey, we need extras for this day of shooting. And crickets.
Cricket, yeah, because you were shitty.
I
ain't messing with it, man. I ain't going.
I don't have
no.
time.
I ain't got time
I
for
can't
that
take
person.
off. I'm busy doing,
But if a good
what?
person asks the same question, it'd just be hand over fist. Some people, it'd be hand over fist. Oh, I can do that. Let me move around some things. I'll come be an extra. That's cool.
And it's not even that. It's they're actors. They are actors. They want to act. They have said that their stated goal is to act, to be on a set, to have work, to have.
I want to act. I'm an actor. Let me act.
And here you are offering them, show up. We need you to show up on this day at this time. Just show up and you will be in a production. You will have material for your reel at some point. If you do this one thing, it's called show up.
Right.
And people just do not.
Right.
Crickets.
People just want to go like this. People want to go, and I used to always have this problem too. This is something I worked out with my therapist. Is going from the everybody wants to go from A to Z and not enjoy the journey.
Right, or not do the work.
Not do the work, enjoy the work and the journey is the best part about it, most fulfilling part of it all. You
Right.
know?
Yeah, and that's another thing. I think in this industry, as much as it is a collaborative effort and you always need to make sure that you take care of people, I know there's a saying out there that says, don't burn any bridges, light them motherfuckers on fire.
Dude, there is some that you need to like.
Because that shit's toxic.
There's some you need to.
Bye.
You need that dragon in Game of Thrones to.
And
burn
that
bitch down out.
doesn't mean be negative, be it's just
just cut it off, man. Just cut it off.
There's no.
It doesn't even need to be negative. Yeah, you need to like cut it off, like bury the, put a bomb in there, whatever, because that would be toxic, and you don't want to go back to that shit.
Yeah, and even
there's people I needed my time and space away from in music and stuff like that because they were, I care about them, man, love them like brothers and sisters, whatever. But they were being mad toxic, and it was seeping into my energy, man. So I needed my space from those people, man. Some of them I don't even want to see ever again. There's people that were just always around that I'm like, I don't ever want to see these people again.
Then you look back and you're like, yep, there they were.
Yeah, and they still not doing shit. So whatever, But yeah.
and even like Linda said too, I think in this industry as a whole, what people see, which talked about the 25-year overnight success. There is so much work.
Yeah, no one's an overnight success, man.
Oh my God.
For what somebody is doing that got them that quote unquote overnight success is 10, 20 years of grinding and learning your craft and networking and all this stuff, It's like even with a regular job, if you're an electrician, I'll like charge you X number of dollars to come fix your stuff. It might only take me 5 minutes, but you're not paying for that 5 minutes. You're paying for the 10 years of me doing it to be able to do it in 5 minutes.
Yes. Yes, that is accurate. And there, as in other things, are oftentimes people that, like you said, want A to Z in 2 seconds with no work.
Right.
And it's always been mind-boggling to me, which has happened on a handful of occasions, as any creator in film will tell you, period, just in history. You say you want to be an actor so bad and you want to do this so bad, and then you're given the opportunity, but it comes with a lot of work. It comes with this. It comes with that, if you want to do it. And then they're like, okay, but like I don't want to do that. Okay, so like, okay, wait, let's take it back. Do you want to do this or not? Instead of doing it half-assed,
Yeah.
which won't get you anywhere. And that, I think, when people talk about the 1%, that's really all it is the people that just do the work. And there's a lot of work. I remember even when I was just acting, I will never forget. I was driving back to Detroit from Chicago from an audition. That I had to go to the audition and a callback in the same day. To the audition and a callback in the morning. Came back home, got clothes, went to a play rehearsal, went back to another callback, drove back, did the play, had a short film to film, all in one day, and I was in my car on the freeway doing an interview on the phone, and I hung up And I was like, I get where the hell Mariah Carey was coming from with exhaustion.
Right.
I get it. I mean, oh my God. And then it's like a whole week packed of other shit to do, but that's what you do if you want to make it. You know, there is no, that is what gets you to the 1%. That is what you see on TV. That is the success.
Right.
And I always knew that, but I was like, geez, I get it now. I get it.
Yeah, you know it to a certain extent, but when you do it, you're like, oh, yeah. And then you can start sort of budgeting your energy at that point to try to in your best way to sort of kind of moderate it, you know?
Yeah.
To be able to like, okay, I can do this amount of stuff and not burn myself out. Even though you might still burn yourself out, but you can try to moderate a little bit of it.
Yeah, I've definitely struggled with the burnout doing the show, just doing everything I got to do, you know?
So yeah, like you're doing a lot of stuff. And how do you sort of deal with, creative block and stuff like that? How do you get started on something new that you have to do? Like for me, I have like a ton of ideas of different artistic things that I want to do. I can do the podcast easy because I have a routine with it. I know what I need to do. I have a process and a routine. But for other things, I'm kind of like, dude, how do I get this thing started, man? Like, how do you sort of deal with getting yourself started?
I love, there's a quote right now that a lot of people are talking about that I've seen a lot from Amy Poehler, who I love and will work with one day. Hello, Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Shout out, Amy.
You're never ready.
Right.
You're never ready. If you wait till you're ready, you're never going to do it. So it's getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and getting comfortable with being unsure and getting comfortable with just fucking doing it, whether or not you have it all together.
Getting comfortable with potentially failing.
Absolutely. And really, what is failure? Failure is just a lesson. And
yeah.
That it's just
figuring shit out, you know?
Yeah, it's a sign from life going, okay, so maybe to go this way instead.
And you know what I love? I love those people who will criticize you about you're not doing it right and why would you want to be involved in that project, or that other project and not going anywhere and don't really see the point, blah, blah, blah. And yet, where's the stuff that they tried to do? It's
right.
Completely non-existent.
Where's your show?
Right.
I don't see it, bro.
Right. I can't talk about your failures because you never tried, bitch. You didn't do anything. Okay?
Oh, what about your show? Oh,
I'm going to pass this over real quick.
Yeah. But know what the funny thing is about like just things that were like kind of, not there yet. A lot of the biggest shows of all time had slow starts.
Hell yeah.
Like, I just saw like I didn't read the article, but it was an article about how the Big Bang Theory was a really slow start. It really wasn't a good show at the beginning,
and they had to pay people to sit in the audience.
Yeah, it was, and now it's one of the longest running shows. Has 1 million episodes. Is going to be in syndication forever. And
big shouts to the director. He's from Michigan. Whoop whoop.
Whoop whoop. Yeah, it's stuff like that where there was shows that were very underwhelming at the beginning that was able to stay around and become something, so you really, you can't, if someone's doing something, man, unless it's downright offensive, just see where it's going, if they can still do it, maybe there is people that like it, there's music shit, there's people that I know that do music shit that I don't like their stuff, but they're still doing stuff, and yeah. I gotta like, hey man, you're still doing it, man. You're, you're still, putting in the work. Cool.
Absolutely, and that's, that's another thing too. Is there's a big difference between criticism and just being negative. You know,
being a dick.
Right? And even there's a line between positive criticism and negative criticism, and people know that are in any type of creative industry for long enough that when you really start kind of going somewhere. Like, I remember being on sets, big sets, studio sets, where people were screaming. I'm talking screaming at you. Time is money, time is money. You have one more fucking take, let's go. And they have like $5 million on this day. You got to get it in the next 5 minutes or you're out. And that's the business side that some people don't get. You know what I
Right.
mean? So there's a big, I try and provide a leeway on our sets, you know, like there are some people like Lyindaa that will memorize a whole scene with monologues and everything and can come in and do it one take. There's some actors that can't. So, you know,
Right.
we'll break it up, we'll do whatever. But, you know, it's all about being clear that, you know, as we mentioned before, when you keep working, every different level of your life is going to require a different version of you.
Yeah.
And if you want to go beyond this and find more success, you will have to become a different version of yourself. That means you can't keep doing what you're doing right now. This is a leeway that's being provided.
Right. Yeah. That's something that I totally
Right.
struggled with my whole life. Basically, you know, it's like, who am I? What am I doing next? What is this? What is this that I'm doing going to provide me? What are these people in my life right now? Because, you know, a lot of people in your life are just, they're just going to be in your life at that time, you know? They're not, you know, sometimes we like get bummed out about our friendships because we drift apart from people. When you got to realize, hey, we're all getting busy, you know, like,
Right.
you know, chill out, you know? Stay in touch if you can, but maybe you guys don't talk every week. Maybe talk every month or whatever. But yeah, you got to like figure out what that version of you is going to lend to the next version of you, and not be a dick about it, or not be dick to anybody else about it.
Yeah, and then understanding that if you want to keep evolving, you have to keep changing. And you know, that's another thing I'm learning about myself just as a human being through doing this. I've never been a creator of a show before. So I'm
Right.
figuring it out, you know, as I go. I never even wanted to be a director. I didn't want to write. I didn't want to do any of this shit. But it was what was required of me to become what I wanted to be. So I figured it out, you know, and I continue to figure it out. Whereas, you know, life will drop people just by nature of its existence then those people can't become versions of themselves like you know, actors know, if you've been on a bigger film set or whatever, you are expected to know every line and be off book as soon as you walk onto that set. Bigger sets, you know what I mean? So it's like,
Right.
okay, this is just an example. You can take this moment to learn for the next moment, you know, or anything. Like, they're not going to sit on a bigger set and let you do 50 takes if you're not some huge star. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's just certain things that are not going to be provided. But, you know, I want to keep it a learning experience for people. So I leave spaces open. But in the same respect, when you do something professionally and you want your project to become something better than just what everything else has been, you have to also become a different version of yourself, hold people to different standards, make sure everyone is continuously, you know, rising up or that can meet your standards. Because as a creator, you know, any creators out there understand you can't carry dead weight. You really can't. If you want your show or your project or whatever to thrive, you got to get rid of the shit that's weighing you down.
Definitely.
And people that bring everyone else down. And that's hard. That's hard sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But it needs to be done. And those are one of the things that's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. And things about this industry that, yeah, I've had it said, and I've heard that, oh, actors are real sensitive people and you have to be really careful with actors. When I was asking people about directing, because like I have an emotional deficiency, so I don't understand a lot of that. Like, I really love directness, and I personally cannot understand something if someone beats around a bush. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
just fucking say it. Yo, you're off your mark. Get the fuck on your mark. Okay, sorry. You know what I mean? But so that's a learning curve to figure out how to deal with people, but also not take shit, because there's a line between, okay, now this project is in question because of the allowances that I'm affording X,
Right.
Y, and Z person, you know, and
Yeah, when
listening to your
you're
gut.
doing Chair Gang, even from the beginning, how did you keep it a serious professional environment while still, you know, having fun doing it? But how did, you know, even if it's, at the beginning where some people might be like, oh, this is just a small show, just the beginning of something, whatever. Who cares if we don't do this or do that, How do you, kind of keep things on the mark that you want, a certain level of quality, when even from the beginning doing that?
Being comfortable with people potentially not liking you. Not being afraid to say no without an explanation, and holding other people to standards, and putting other people in the best way possible in a position where they can either grow or leave, because then that questions everything else, and puts everything else in question. We do things, we do media day, we do outreach, we do commercials, we do a lot of other things. And yeah, on set, it's anyone knows being on set. I've just never understood why it takes like 2 hours to move lights. You know what I'm saying? Like, just being on sets, period. Like, as an actor, personally, I remember being on sets and being like, God, this is unreasonable, for X, Y, and Z thing.
Yeah.
So I try and make those changes. It's about people. The whole cast and crew is just awesome that we have right now, and everybody really understands. Like Lyindaa was saying, everybody that's there right now actually wants to be there. They really want to be actors. They want to be a part of this, and that helps.
No one's thinking like, oh, this is just a little fun little hobby I'm coming here to do.
I don't know what's in their mind. I should hope not. But if that's the case, then time will tell, and peace and blessings. But we'll see you later. Next time. But yeah, it's if you really want to be in this industry, then you do understand, and you have a faint understanding somewhere that it's going to require a hell of a lot of work. And I know everything I did and I'm doing right now with Chair Gang are things that when I was just an actor, I would have given my left fucking arm to have a project do for me. And to be able to be a part of a project where I can use it to my advantage and use the commercials, use the media days, use all types of different opportunities.
Talk more about that. What you want to help fulfill with the people that are working with you. What sort of opportunities or just experiences you want them to leave there with.
We're working right now towards like distribution. So that's wonderful. And we've had a couple interested parties that we are in discussion with. And so that's number one, to create a show that we can have be distributed on a bigger streaming network,
right,
broadly. So that's one. But really, honestly, the only thing that I can give people is experience, and hopefully without having to, sit down with each individual person and talk to them privately for like 4 hours about things. If they're serious, they'll pick up what I'm putting down, and they'll understand that, oh, okay, I can do this, this, and this. Because you can't make anyone successful, which is unfortunate. You can't force anyone to do the work. Even if you see someone that's so talented, you can't force them to be professional. You can't force them to.
As much as you try to.
You can't do it.
As much as you try to be encouraging,
right.
You see something in someone, and you're like, I've seen so many of those people, man. And you're like, you want to be encouraging. You think they could do more, but.
Yeah.
I'd rather just get high all day.
Yeah. And every single, it's true. And every single person in the cast and crew right at this moment, I feel is wonderful. And,
yeah, there's a great energy with, each and every episode with everybody.
Yeah. And everyone is a great human being. I think they very clearly understand what is required of you on set, how you're supposed to be, that, we, as any set, works as efficiently as possible, and blah blah blah. Like, they get it. They understand what it means when someone says we got to redo this or start from one, or what I'm saying. They get it. Everyone gets it. And as far as your question about opportunities to provide people, it's really about I know where I want the show to go, and that will then open the door for people that choose to walk through it.
I received my first fan mail. Had nothing to do with Chair Gang, mind you. But I just want to say that, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, I received this request to send signed an autographed headshot of myself to some fans in Hawaii.
Ooh.
I was so blown away. I posted that request on my refrigerator, and I was just talking about it with my family.
Did you have extra headshots?
I did.
Right. Okay.
I
all
did.
right.
I whipped out my headshot and signed it, and just was in turmoil over the right, thing.
Like, what do I say on this
right?
thing? Ugh.
What encouraging awesomeness do I put on this? But I just want to say that is one of the things that Chair Gang offers to its actors. Fans. And fans are awesome.
Yes.
Fans are, there are some characters that were in season 1 who are no longer there. The fans spoke up right away. We're going to miss so-and-so, thus and such. Are they coming back? And people get attached to the storyline, to the characters, as if they were real people. People get into it. So, yeah, it's that opportunity to experience that wonderfulness.
Going into characters and everything, what do you like about your character, and what sort of feedback do you get from people?
The thing that I like about Bree is that she is a hot mess. I have never been given the opportunity to play a character like this. And
you don't look like you're a hot mess, but then when you start talking, you're like, what the fuck's she talking about?
Bree is amazing. She's wonderful. She's a little sneaky, conniving, very aggressive, wants to get ahead no matter what. But in the end, she's just a little shit sometimes, and she just wants to be loved.
Right? She's always doing the sneaky things, asking questions. You're like, and I'm like, all right, I don't know if she's being sincere. What's her game plan?
Exactly. And the feedback has been, no, do not trust Bree. That shiesty bitch. There has been feedback that was very emotional, very passionate, and I love that.
Right.
I feel as though I got across in a big way to those folks who are watching. Whatever I was doing on set that day, whatever I did really made an impact. And I love it. Negative or not, I love it.
When doing these episodes, and they're all short episodes, how do you feel like you were able to get these characters across to where your fans are, having these connections with them?
One of the things I think is really important is casting. I cast from my intuition. I don't even look at a resume, usually. I can kind of just look at someone's picture and see, and then I might look at a reel or something, but I'm like, right from a headshot, I'll know. And just speaking on the struggles because people understand it, like even simple things like people reading an actual casting breakdown. Please include your headshot and resume. Please include this. And then someone emails you with just like, want to be on the show. And no picture or anything. Yeah, I already know I'm deleting it.
Yeah, I get a lot of connections with people just based off a little shit,
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there an ease with this person? Is there, how do they talk to me? Am I feeling like I'm being like pitched a sale or something, a sales pitch? Is it, there's all these little things, and I could look at who their friends, whatever. But no, I just like the little personal little things. Did they like, what did they say in their email? Are they even paying attention to my podcast? Did they do any sort of research on my podcast? It's those little things. I understand.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's in casting, and it's very much just I don't feel like I need to do anything. I feel like everybody I've casted in this project knows their shit and is an outstanding actor. So it's literally just about, okay, guys, we need to do one more time from a different angle. Like, that's kind of it. Everyone really does great work without having to say really anything. I mean, sometimes it might be like a comedic direction about like, but it might be funny if there's like a small pause or something. I don't know.
Right.
I think everyone's really just outstanding, and as actors, all of them are above and beyond. Right. So it's all the credit goes to them, really, because they're the shit.
And I think real stories. They're real anecdotes from life, and the fans connect with something that has happened to them in real life. And when they see that portrayed by a character, it's like, ah, ha, 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 Nina, that's you. Did you see that? And that's what makes it funny to you when you relate. So it's relatable. It's relatable characters because the stories are relatable because that shit actually happened at some point in someone's life.
Yeah, and I feel like outside of the show, just sort of like the promotion and outreach that you guys do is very, you see a lot of energy with it. When I first met you was at the Rotten Tail premiere, and
yeah, shout out to Source Point Press.
Yeah, and I see her. She's looking so cute. She has green hair in a pinup girl way, and I'm like, I just had to tell her, I'm like, I love your hair, and then we just started talking. She just had a nice positive energy, and I'm like, what the hell's Chair Gang? She had a t-shirt on, and she started telling me. I'm like, all right, cool. And I was like, cool. And I'm like, so it made me interested in going home and actually researching it and stuff, because I meet a lot of people, and sometimes I don't get the best vibe from them. Do I want to go home and research their stuff? No. Sometimes. But then sometimes I do, I got see all those cards right there on my table. Those are all the people I met at the Comic-Con,
Yep.
And so like those people, I'll go, look up their stuff, and see if they're, cool people, So, but yeah, I feel like the stuff that you do outside the show, whether it's just doing, Facebook, live videos or the personal appearances, really lend to getting people, bringing people in to at least think about it and check out the show.
There's so much that's being done. There's Comic-Con, there's Facebook Watch, there's outreach, there's contests, there's polls on Facebook. There are so many different angles that April is utilizing and coming from, and it all snowballs.
And I don't think a lot of people do that. Like, go that vast,
Not only that, but I want to say I haven't seen any females in the Midwest doing that. I know a lot of females in the Midwest who are making their attempt at directing independent projects, but no one with the veracity of April Washko.
So I was impressed with her the moment I met her. I was just like, she's impressive. I'm gonna go check out this show. I have to.
Right, and so there's that initial vision and intensity, but the thing is, she never stops. And it just keeps going and going, and it's the next thing, and it's the next thing, and it's the next thing. And I have seen the snowball, and I have stood in awe. The snowball is gathering speed down the hill, and it is wonderful and terrifying.
Right. In April, like, is someone, being such a busy woman, doing so many things, and I definitely love a busy woman. Like, I've had really bad experiences with.
Write a song. That was the first line right there.
I love a busy woman. No, I'm telling you, because every in the past, so many of the women I've dated had way too much time on their hands.
Oh, now you really need to write a song. That's the second line right there.
Way too much time on their hands. So I'm just generally impressed by really busy women. But how do you continue to be a busy woman but not have a chaotic life? How do you keep things sort of grounded and not, not everything get out of control, Because I feel like being busy and being chaotic can be.
Calm down when I'm dead.
Yeah, we just did a scene where Bree screams that in the camera. It was really funny, an episode. I think for me and anyone else in that position or this position, it's consistently practicing surrender. Because if you hold attachment to too many things, no matter how many, being busy and being attached to 1,000 things are different.
Yeah.
You can be working on something and let it pass through you and do it without holding attachment to it. So it's been a practice for me of consistently releasing attachment and surrendering.
Very Buddha of you.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, but it's necessary.
Oh, yeah. No, it's definitely necessary.
It's so hard because you'll think about something like, I'll start thinking about, like, right now we're supposed to start rating season 4, and I'll think about, like, oh my god, I guess already season 4. Oh my god, that's 26 episodes. They're all going to be 20 minutes. Oh my god, and I'll start getting crazy about it. I should start now.
It isn't procrastination or being lazy. It just literally, you know what, like, not being attached to it and literally being like, all right, maybe I can't do it right now, but I'm going to take time then to do it, or
absolutely.
Yeah, it's not procrastinating.
It's not trying to control.
Be able to control, because sometimes you just
trusting.
Sometimes you just can't control your creativity or time. There's some things you just can't control, so you almost have to like just let it be, just surrender, like you said.
Yeah, practicing mindfulness, practicing like I meditate every day, a couple times a day if I need to help release things. I'll do yoga.
Yeah, I love doing yoga.
Yeah, I'll take a walk when I'm able to. Sometimes it's like I just am so busy, but
walks are great.
Yeah, it's being very diligent with your, time management, understanding like, okay, every day you allow yourself from this time to this time to do this, and this time to that time to do this, and planning.
There's a lot of people that
controlling.
waste their time doing things that they think they're supposed to be doing, but it really doesn't help out what you're supposed to be doing at the time. It's kind of it's just going through some motions, I guess.
Well, and I think that depends on someone's goals.
Yeah.
Like you can't say that you want to have myself as an example, you can't say that you want to have a show on Netflix or Hulu or any other network if you would like to play 2K all day instead, or watch Netflix all day instead, or go on dates, or have kids, or which all those are fine. Those are absolutely wonderfully amazing. Right. But pick, because you're not going to be able to do the level of work that's required of you if you'd rather sit and play video games all day or sit and binge your next series. I love that Gary Vee, I love him, and he says that, like, that's totally cool for you to do. You can do it. Your life is your choice, but don't then bitch about it.
Right.
So, pick, because you have to give up a lot of shit in order to be successful. And it requires telling friends, sorry, I just can't go. Sorry, I can't talk. I'm not, you pick. It's like your relationship. You can't spend that much time with that person. You can't do all the things you used to do. You literally have to rewire your life around your goal. And that's totally okay for someone not to do, but then don't bitch about it. So that's really what it is too about being successful, is picking what you need to do, doing it, and dedicating yourself to that, and just accepting what is and what happens and surrender it. Don't try and control it. Just let it be.
Right. Definitely. What's your experience with your character on Cherry Gang? What was sort of the idea of what you wanted to be on there, and how did you sort of, did you need any feedback from any other people to sort of find out what that character was going to be, since like you're the person who created the show?
No, I do a lot of my own research, and I just trust my gut. And so as I was doing it, I knew, okay, I have to do it I have to do it in the style of The Office, because we don't have the budget for anything else. We just don't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you work within the parameters of what you have. The parameters of what we have is, I'm not going to get a camera that I can't, I'm not going to do something with a camera that just doesn't look right. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to try and make this look like what it ain't. I'm going to play with where we're living. So we're going to make this an Office style. That's going to be the easiest to edit. It's going to be the easiest for the actors. It's going to be the easiest to sell to a distributor with where we're living, with what we have.
Yeah, so, you do with what you can.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it turned perfect. Everyone loves it. We're going sky high. But when I was writing characters, I just jotted shit down. But I knew, okay, what are we playing with? The parameters of what we're working with is like The Office, like Parks and Rec. Okay, so what does that mean? I needed to look at the people that created this, the people that started this. Who is that? Ricky Gervais. So I went and researched Ricky Gervais as much as possible. And I watched interviews, and I watched him and his creative partner. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot his name. And interviews they did. And Ricky was talking in an interview about how he does his casting and how he writes his characters. And he had said he just writes it as close to himself as possible. He'll just pick shit where it's easier. You know what I'm saying? Like, just write it real. Write it like a real person. Don't make it fake and weird. I forget the exactly what he said, but what I absorbed from it was to make it as close to yourself as possible, and something you can easily play. So there's no fucking way I would try and play Cassie. Okay, like that ain't me. That's not me in a million years. Right. I can't do it. Especially I also knew with the amount of work I would have, I'm not going to be able to dedicate as much as an actor to this project mentally and emotionally as I would if I was just an actor. Yeah. So, Alyssa's, for me, easy. Oh my God. Do you know how easy it is to be a bitch and to be emotionless? And for me, not saying it's for everybody, but for me. And I really like her truth. I like that she speaks to a lot of people. I love people's, how people receive her.
Yeah.
As God, I've always wanted to say that, which is the character I kind of wanted to play anyway.
Yeah, you're the character that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe she just said that. That's what I wanted to say at my job. Right.
And just strategically, she is easier for me to play doing what I'm doing now, with the amount of work.
Thank you for letting me say something.
You're welcome. But you are a goddess, so.
True. Watching the first episode of season 1, I remember the feeling of, oh my God, is she going to say it? I want her to say it. I want her to say it so bad. Oh gosh, say it. And then you would say it and I'd be like, yes! She said it. So yeah, there is that cathartic feeling when you have that one character that is going to say the thing that you want them to say.
Like,
and then it happens.
Do it.
Yes.
She said. How close is that character to you in real life? Do you feel?
Oh yeah, real close. Real close. Yeah, real close. Alyssa's probably a little more quiet. I come from a background just personally of a lot of like craziness and wildness, and one of my things as a person is just learning the difference between. I'm very much somebody that'll be like I said, I'm very direct, super direct. I've been that way my whole life. I've been through a learning process with myself. It's like, I don't get why people don't get that. Like, or people don't like that. Like, I don't understand. So, Alyssa's a little more direct version, or maybe a younger version of me. You know what I mean? Before I kind of did my learning and,
maybe a little
introspection.
More amped up, maybe a little amped up version of you.
Yeah, I think Alyssa's very trapped as well. She's stuck in a job she doesn't like, and she doesn't really know where to go, whereas I know where I'm going, and there's happiness and joy in that path. When you feel trapped and stuck and like you have no out, that's when you are miserable, right? But also...
That's what I like about her, that she's like trapped in a job that she hates,
and that's
as I am.
So related.
And
it's relatable.
I relate.
It's relatable.
And a lot of things she says, I'm like, yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And, she is very much learning. And I think one of the things that I really like about her that is a reflection of a lot of people is learning forgiveness. She's trying to learn forgiveness for that character, Anne, that we haven't met yet. And I think that she is a representation of somebody that is very standoffish and quiet, and you always think the toughest person has it all together, and they don't. They're probably the most vulnerable,
Right.
So there's definitely storylines potentially around that as well, which it's cool that every character, it was intended to start off kind of more of like a viral series, give some crazy stuff people can share and be like, oh my God, who just threw what, and then as it goes and we grow an audience to get deeper and more involved, and like quote unquote real story and real show, which is where it's going now. So that's really cool.
Like the first season, there was a lot more humor, a lot of like just weird shit happening. But as the season went on, went to season 2, got a lot more deeper with stuff. Talk about the sort of progression in the storylines.
They're definitely necessary, and it's something that is supported by the fans, because I didn't want to create like a 25-30 minute series for not the correct number of people. That's a lot of work when there's no one for it. It's like the supply demand. You have to equalize it. Right. So when the fans started really demanding, hey, these are too short, we want them long, I was like, oh, all right, sweet, now we're here. Let's do this. Right. So, yeah, it's just the process is really, it was always set up from the beginning, the certain characters, to have them potentially evolve. And those are in like writers' meetings and brainstorming and all of those things. And
you didn't want to just do stupid shit every episode. For, it eventually will just, you're just eventually just trying to shock, do more than the previous episode. Right. How can we shock them more, when you've already like, this is what a vagina looks like,
Yeah, exactly.
but it's great.
I know.
How many times can you do that, know? But no, it's definitely great that you're, developing these characters and also developing stories where, like, there's a character that hasn't even been on the show yet that has been a part of it, so you're wondering, dude, like, who's this person going to be,
Who's Anne?
Who the fuck's Anne, and we're getting little bits of why she was who she was and why she was important to the story and blah blah blah. Right.
Yeah, I've got a vision of Anne in my head. I want to see if it's in any way similar at all.
That's a secret.
It's a secret. She's gonna she's gonna be like, boom, here's it.
Yep.
But I definitely like that there's something that, that we're kind of growing with as we're watching the show, and there's something to anticipate.
Yeah, and I look forward to, which we've already kind of implemented a little in seasons and episodes and seasons that will be coming out, is storylines and backgrounds of people that you might necessarily not talk about, or people don't really know, or, you hear about it, but you don't know that person. And they're quite deep. And what I found in the hair community and hair stylists, period, is they're all deeply empathetic people, and they've all got really interesting backgrounds. Like, one of my friends, I can't even tell you how many people she's watched died, like, under she's like, yeah, there was some lady, she had a seizure, another one died, some dude came in with a gun. Like, what? Like, they just have crazy stories. Hair salon stories and just
hair
people
salon.
Like
Real deal.
And
real
just
shit.
Human beings, like, they've been through some shit. Like, hairstylists, for some reason, have been through the ringer as human beings, and I want it to reflect accurately in these people, and just
That's
not necessarily as dramatic, but
like just crazy shit happens, man. And like,
what's some feedback that you've gotten from people who've watched the show who aren't aware of the actuality of the show? Just weird questions that people have asked you. For instance, for me, this one person that I became acquainted with and knew that I was on the show, a couple of weeks later just asked me, so you're a hairstylist? And I'm like, no, it's a good actor. Yeah.
Are you really a
right?
That's a big question.
like
a lot of people were like, where do you film this? Where's the salon at?
Like,
they thought we were a real hairstylist, which is
where
can I come to get my hair cut?
Can we come in there and
can
like kind of be a part of this?
There was one woman, and I believe it was from like, I want to say like Wyoming or something. When we were looking, and she's like, what's the address? What's the phone number? Where can I'm talking post after post. And I finally on one, I was like, it's fictional. It's just a show. And people were like, what? Like, what? But that's such an amazing testament to all the actors and the realism that you don't look at it and think, oh, this is acting.
See some crazy shit going on, and I want to hear all these women yelling at each other. Like, where can I get a haircut?
Yeah, like they want to request their kid. Like, can I get an appointment with? And the lady that owns the location we film at, we had that conversation about, I don't necessarily want to make it public because you're going to be having 1,000 people call for Alyssa and Bree, and all of your actual stylists are going to be like, this shit is some bullshit, So,
right.
Yeah, it's very interesting though. It's very, very fun.
There was a thing that actually happened in one of the episodes that I'm like, is this a real service? It's the really douchey guy that came in to get his genitals like waxed, like get like a Brazilian but for a dude. Is that something that like can get done at? Is that an actual service anywhere?
It is. It is. It's not very popular because of the sexual harassment that is often correlated with it.
Right.
Actually, I'll go ahead and share this with your audience. There is a thing. I'm not a waxer. I'm not certified in waxing. I'm not an esthetician, but I do know a lot of friends that are. There is a big thing. They've kind of banned Brazilians, a lot of women, because of, again, the sexual harassment that comes with it. But there is like this weird influx that I guess one by one, waxers are talking about it with each other. There's this random thing happening where dudes will call and request to have their entire Brazilian area plucked. Okay? Wait, that's like a turn on type of situation. That's the why they request it. Now, not stylists, I keep saying that. Estheticians, waxers they're like, oh, okay, whatever. So now it's kind of becoming commonplace that they're passing it around. If some weirdos call you to get plucked, every hair plucked, please turn it down. Because that's a huge big red flag. So yeah, that's kind of a new one I just found out myself. I might make it into a show somewhere somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, when I saw that part, like the dude wanted his privates waxed, I was like, that's something that someone will go in and ask for.
Yeah, there's and one of the common things about people that do Brazilian waxes period is poop.
What about poop?
Like people that don't wipe appropriately and
there's
smears
like dingleberries and
on women and men. They're like, what, it's like a common thing. Like a thread will be like a post. Hi guys, so I'm just wondering what kind of wipes work best for like poop smears on butts and stuff, because or what kind of like I'm like, this is so nonchalant. I guess okay. Wow. That's a problem. That's a thing. So there's literally a never-ending supply of stuff we can put in the episodes.
Never-ending.
Yep. And you don't have to be a stylist or a woman or whatever to enjoy it or to think it's funny or like be like, what? It's just like a interesting insight into service work and what people that work with
and
public
that's
have to deal with.
Cool too. You don't have to be in that service to really enjoy the show. Definitely because of the underlying stories, associated with everything. Like, yeah, that's what I really enjoy. There's humor, there's really, crazy shit, It's like, and also like the time when apparently you got caught with a lot of drugs in your car.
Stacy, that bitch. Yeah.
That was hilarious. I'm like, wait a minute. How did she get out?
See, and that's that bullshit because that happens. Like, shit, if you have a car and someone else put a bunch of drugs in it, you're screwed. So, yeah, it's one of those situations. I mean, I know Pauline called Anne, so, I mean, maybe Anne has something to do with it. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
So, when, with everything that you with this show, everything that you're, doing, what do you... what are your plans for the future? Is there anything that you feel like that you want to do that's in your mind that you want to do in the future that with this show or outside of this show that you hope that this journey that you're on will take you to?
Yeah, absolutely. I have like 7 feature film scripts written and done, and they're all different genres, so that's awesome.
Nice.
Yes, and easily pitchable. And, step 1 is for, again, I'm trying to surrender and release and just let the universe do what it's going to do. But to, secure distribution with like a Netflix, a Hulu, whatever good streaming network decides to chat with us about it. And from there, just to use my platform to keep creating. You know, creating stuff, creating shows, creating movies, putting people on that need it, you know, that, you know, might not have the most perfect resume to be seen. There's a million filmmakers and actors and directors and creative people that deserve a job and a place. And through all my opportunities that I'm afforded, I want to give them a shot and give them an opportunity. So I just want to keep paying it forward and helping other people grow if they choose to, if they want to, and keep moving on up. I'm going to basically own the industry. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Sweet. What advice would you have to, you know, young women, young girls out there that are thinking about whether being an actress or going or
I saw little April with glasses going, I want to do that.
Aww.
But no, what sort of advice would you have to anybody that wants to? It doesn't even have to be, you know, in doing film or a TV show, any sort of creative output. You know, a lot of this can be male dominated. There's still remnants of the old boys network that exist. You know, from your experiences, what sort of advice would you have to any young women out there?
Well, thankfully, now this is after the Me Too movement and after Rose McGowan was so brave to speak out, and as were so many other people about the shit that goes on in the film industry. When I was in California, it was before that. So I'm quite certain things have changed. I don't know. I haven't been there since. But I can only imagine that the entire climate has changed because of the doors that have been broken down because of brave women that decided to speak about a lot of things that were previously silenced. So first, I want to commend them for being brave. The things that even just Rose McGowan has said she had to go through were absolutely horrendous and are unexcusable. So thank you to her and all of the other women that finally spoke on it to make our journey easier. But with that being said, I think it's just being honest and being brave and not waiting for it to be right time, quote unquote, you know. I think as a society, women are told to always be polite and be kind and to, like, I remember an episode of Oprah was talking about that. Like, that's the reason why women get murdered and shit. You know what I mean? Because they're not, you'll be standing outside of an elevator and somebody goes in and you're like, oh, my gut is telling me something's very wrong. But to be polite and not look rude, you're going to go in, you know, or someone's asking you, hey, can I get your number? Can I get your number? And you're going to be, oh, ha, 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 ha. Instead of being like, shut up and get away. You know what I mean? Because you want us to be seen as polite, not rude. Don't be afraid to be rude. Don't be afraid to be seen as a bitch. Don't be afraid to be seen as unpolite. I remember a mentor I have, the very first project I worked on where I had to be making really big decisions and risk getting people upset. People were saying left and right, oh my God, she's a bitch. She's a total bitch. I think truly, again, this was before the Me Too, that they hired me because of what I look like and thought that they could use me as arm candy to get money from financiers. But when I started working and securing distribution deals, that's kind of when I started being called nasty things. And I sat with her and she's like, you know what, I want to take you out to dinner. Let's go. So she took me out to dinner, and she's working in this industry for a very long time. And she sat with me and she's like, you know what, sweetheart, don't ever be afraid to be called a bitch. If anything, go get a crown and wear it proudly that says I am a bitch. If you're doing your work and you're getting your job done, that is all that will ever matter.
Get some business cards that says I'm a bitch.
Right. And you know, and that's not to, you know, excuse negativity on anyone's side, but don't be afraid to make decisions. Don't be afraid to call the shots. Don't be afraid to just be powerful and be present.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do that. You know, the world wants to make people small because they're afraid of their greatness. So don't allow that. Be unabashedly yourself and be unafraid to be loud and make a scene and make waves positively, you know, in a beautiful way.
Right.
But my advice is do it and don't apologize and don't worry. Don't worry about failure. Don't worry about anything. Just do it. And as you go, be open to learning and find in everything, good and bad, what you learned from. Be nice and be kind within the parameters of never allowing it to infringe on your self-respect and what you know needs to be done. And just don't be afraid. And if you're a young woman out there and you are journeying into this industry, hit me up, because it's about collaboration, not competition. Let's work together.
Do you have anything to add, my goddess?
Yes. I'm going to say say yes as often as possible, because I have been asked to do things that I didn't think that I could do, but because I said yes and because I said, you know what, I'm just going to do it, I ended up doing something and then getting better at it. Whereas if I had stopped and said, I don't think that I'll be good at that. I don't think I'm good at improvisation. I've never really done that a bunch.
I mean, in most cases, the worst that could happen is it was a learning experience. You failed, and just
so true.
maybe you just don't do it again, But most part, give it a try.
Exactly. My greatest learning experiences have come from just saying yes. Like when April tells me, you are having a crisis as Bree, and you've just eaten way too many pot brownies, and I've never had a pot brownie in my life, and I'm just like, yes, okay, I'm going to do that. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Oh, I can't wait for that episode.
Just do it, and it'll work out. Just jump in there. Jump in there, both feet, and mistakes are your best friend. And that's the part that I wanted to add. Mistakes are your best friend.
And she does. I will say, Linda's always like, all right. You can see it in her face, too. You can see it. Because she's kind of like, she got the question in the eyes, and then she's like, okay, yep, yeah, okay.
Let me know if I'm doing it right.
I'll do it, yeah.
All right,
yep.
I'll try my best.
It's awesome.
In April, you've, definitely on social media, you've been open about a lot of your past struggles, definitely when you were younger as a kid and whatnot. How much of that goes into the work that you do, whether it's with Chair Gang or with any of the other scripts you said that you've written, or just, building this platform that you're building right now?
I think everything in life, you can, again, use as a learning opportunity, and you can grow into the person you want to be, or you can allow it to consistently let you set yourself back. I think more than anything, acting itself in this industry, I'm learning how to properly human, if that makes sense. Because I don't know how to explain it other than, the traumas that I've dealt with in my life and the abuse and the addiction and things. I guess psychologists would probably have a better definition of it or explanation of it. But I'm like a human 7 of 9. For some Voyager folks out there, like, I really identify with her. I'm like, she can't feel really anything. She's just like, yeah, but I said it. I don't know why they're upset. Like, I don't.
There's certain things about your upbringing that created sort of holes in your life.
Yeah.
Just like they say, because this is something I talked about with my therapist too. Know how like with athletes, they're like, yo, that basketball player, he's good, but he has a lot of holes in his game and stuff like that. We have that in life, where they're just things we didn't pick up on for whatever reason, whether our parents didn't teach us or there was a rough childhood or something. There's something that we didn't figure out. Or got
damaged.
Yeah, or it got damaged.
Broken.
We just didn't figure out that, we got to, when we're adults and realize that, we got to kind of figure out how can we sort of grow that part of us, later on in life,
Yeah, and this industry is definitely affording me growth, which is weird because I always knew I wanted to do this, but I never really got why. I never knew why. I was just like, whatever, I'm supposed to do it, I don't know. This is always something I have to do. And then being on films and projects, I think the first time I actually really cried, I was 28 years old. And I remember being like, damn, this is what crying is, but it was for, working through films and projects with other creative people, because actors are empathetic people. They feel emotions. Yeah. They do emotions all day. And I never really got that because I'm emotion deficient. So this industry is helping me re-emote and connect to my emotions. Yeah. So that's really wonderful. But I also think different things, like, as you mentioned, my past, as far as, when I was younger and moving away from drug addiction, it was before the conversation was as open as it is. Yeah. So, anything from my drug addiction to my self-injury was not talked about. And it was something that, even the pills I was doing and all of that, it was like, well,
there was a
whatever.
Stigma with that, where you're a bad person if you do.
And it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Because I was young.
Yeah.
And kids are just being weird, and
you're just being a kid, whatever.
Yeah.
You'll grow out of it.
And I remember distinctly my parents telling me they were too embarrassed of me to ever admit I had a problem.
Yeah, and stuff like that. Like,
Right. So it's like, okay. And then it was me looking at myself after, suicide attempt 1 or 2 that said, I'm going to die. Like, this is going to kill me. This is going to kill me. I'm going to die. So if I don't figure my shit out, I'm going to die. And to make that decision at like 16 or 17 is tough. And then to go, okay, here's what I need to do because I have no support. I have no family. I have no one anywhere.
yeah.
About figuring out how to get sober. And this is before the fucking internet and smartphones and all that shit. Like, how do I do this? I don't even know how to do this. I don't know how to get sober. I don't know how to get clean. And I just won't take it. And I'm laying in bed puking and having the shakes. Really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just figure it out. And, you don't have support. People, family, parents, whatever, tell you, shut up. You're joking. You're being dramatic. Get up and deal with it. Or, whatever other shit you have to deal with. So I just think those types of things, can either kill you or make you. And so I guess I just use that to go towards, I don't know. So if I can do that, then I guess working for this is really nothing. Then that's it.
Right. It's like, if you're down that path where you feel like, this is going to kill me, you're like, and you want to get better, you can be like, what do I have to lose?
Absolutely.
I'm going to die anyway. So.
Yeah, and that's literally what it was. I'm like, all right, sweet. So I'm going to die or I'm going to live. It's one of 2 choices. They're both going to be really fucking difficult. Well, death is easier, right?
Yeah.
That's, I think, that gets into a whole nother psychological aspect of it. But, living is really hard, and it's painful, and it's fighting, and it's every day, and it's making correct decisions and changing, especially that young, changing your entire group of friends and all the decisions you make. And
yeah, that's a really
tough.
tough thing to do at that age because you're still trying to figure out who you are, but then you're in this hole, and you're like, then you have no support, and it's in this time when there's not easy information out there.
Absolutely. And family pathologies are toxic when it comes to that. Even though like using myself as an example, alcoholism runs through my entire family. The fact that I was the one to say I'm an alcoholic and I need help was okay, whatever. There's 4 more y'all motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean this isn't a thing? I'm the only one that talks about it. That's cool. But so yeah, it's I think a beautiful, beautiful quote that I heard the other day that I want to share is when it comes to that, someone said, oh, well, it just runs in the family. Okay, well, this is the time where I will make it run the fuck out. So it's just fighting that and choosing yourself.
There's a lot of toxic circles that go in the families that you're seeing a lot of people trying to break those cycles now, especially with women and people of color and people of, different, genders and sexuality, whatever they, see themselves as. There's people that are finally, since there's more information out there and you're seeing there's more people like that, you're seeing people trying to break those cycles with their families these days, and it's really nice to see. Mm-hmm. I remember most of my adulthood. I was struggling with a lot of weird things, but there's a lot of things. I realized I wasn't sort of feeling things emotionally as maybe I should, and then about 2.5 years ago, I finally quit drinking.
Congrats!
Thank you.
That shit's hard, man. Good for you.
And it was a year of half-ass trying to.
Right, I'm doing it. I didn't have one today.
But then, yeah.
Or this morning, or an hour ago. Yeah.
But then one night I just went out and I went to a show and I just drank so much, and then the next day, the switch just went off.
You got it.
The switch just went off and I didn't want to do it ever again. So I'm like, all right. About 4 or 5 months afterwards, I'm starting to realize there's a lot of repressed feelings that are coming up. I don't know how to handle this shit.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually feeling these feelings. They exist, but they were numbed by alcohol. And I didn't even realize that shit was happening. So it's when you talk about getting reacquainted with your feelings and emotions, I totally understand that, because for so long, I feel like alcohol was totally numbing that shit. So like
Yeah.
I'm finding that I'm learning from, and one of the greatest things is is these creative communities.
Yeah.
Is that you're seeing all these people like uplift each other and be a community and not be competition. And I'm like, and you get emotional when you see your friends succeeding and stuff. And I wasn't like that before. You know, I was happy for people, but I didn't feel the emotion.
Yeah.
So it's cool that like you're at a point where you're figuring out your emotions now.
Thank you. You as well, man. Congrats.
Oh,
Good for
thank you.
Yeah, it's tough, but it's definitely a requirement, and it's something every day. You know, when I was really, really young, I started before anything with self-injury. So that's one of the things I think that like can really destroy you emotionally, because there's no drugs involved. You know, it's literally just consistently slicing yourself open. Sorry for everybody.
You're totally sober,
Yeah.
like doing the stuff to you.
Yeah.
Like your mind is functioning the way your mind is functioning at that time, and it sucks.
Yeah, and it's literally just to stop an emotion. That's the that's the point. To stop an emotion. So when you do that, then as you grow up, I mean, I started at 8 years old. So by the time I was like 15, I didn't know what sad was. Like I couldn't even feel it. You know, like I don't know what sad is. I don't know what fear is. I remember being on a film set, on a horror film set, and literally sitting there going, I don't know what fear. I don't feel fear. Like I don't understand it. I just genuinely don't get it. But that's from years of abuse and a lot of really dramatic things. And I'm like, I genuinely don't understand fear. I sat with the director for like 45 minutes. I'm like, so like, I don't get it though. And he's like, okay, but what if you were in this situation? I'm like, but so what? I don't get it. Like, I still don't understand why I'm afraid. Explain to me why I'm afraid. Just fucking kill some bitch. You know, I don't know. Whatever. But, yeah, so it's a lot of sets. I've been like, you know what? Just give me a phone. Let me Google a clip and let me just like recreate what that person's doing, because I don't know what this emotion is at all. But like you said, this community is so wonderful, and it's through this community and through creative efforts and endeavors and projects and characters that I've come into myself more, which is wonderful. I'm finding more of myself, and I can give that more to the cast and the crew and our fans and all of that.
Do you feel like you can be emotional about watching something or doing something now more so than in the past?
Really, the only thing I can find emotion for seriously is like an animal. That's it. That's it. I can watch the saddest movie with humans. I'm like, I don't get it. I just don't. But as soon as you put an animal in there, I don't care if it's hurt or nothing. You put sad music behind it, it's over. I'm like,
kitty.
I'm done. But yeah, that's it. So I'm still definitely working on it. I've been able to cry, so that was step one. I mean, this goes in acting, but for me, I also know, because of my addiction past and my trauma past, that I could never, ever be an actor that was method. It wouldn't work. I'd probably go straight back to addiction. There's absolutely no way I could safely be a method actor. Not to mention, it makes no damn sense to me. I remember, and if it works for people, that's good, but I remember being an actor, being in a class that was a method class, and my friend, Rich Gautier, he's a great, great teacher. He's like, okay, close your eyes and feel the orange. And he's going on and on and on, and there's other people like, wow, I can smell it. Oh my God, I can feel it. And I'm there like, y'all are on acid. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand.
There's an orange in my hand.
But that's also probably my own mind and body protecting me from probably what's dangerous for me. Like, I get why poor Heath Ledger. That's a fucked up place to live. I couldn't do it, you know? So, but as an actor, I genuinely don't really ever understand why okay, I'm crying. Why am I supposed to cry? I don't really feel that. I'm acting. It's pretend, you know? So, but I also don't have a method either. So, I don't know. It just works. But yeah, I am in a place where I'm more comfortable emoting, and it's not necessarily being comfortable. It's understanding what they are. So I'm understanding what they are more.
Does that
so
affect your real life relationships at all?
No, not really. No.
Do you think it makes it? Let's say, okay, does it make your relationships, whether it in any sort of way, easier or harder? Do you feel, or neither?
I think that answer requires an emotion I don't have. I don't know. I mean, like, my literal gut answer to that is, I don't know. If you don't like me, you can piss off. Like, I don't care, you know? Because everyone is who they are. So it's like, yo, if you don't dig me, that's cool. I respect it, you know, in whatever fashion, whatever form or fashion. No one is for everybody, and that's sweet. Cool. If I'm not for you, peace off. Like, I don't know. Bye.
And I always like to ask this in interviews on the podcast is, you know, what sort of like nugget of knowledge from your life and career that anybody listening to this podcast could sort of project into their own life? Doesn't matter what they do.
Listen to your gut. That small little voice that whispers at you. It's not going to scream at you. It's not going to throw bricks at you. Small little voice. Listen to it and follow it. Follow your intuition. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, I've had a problem with that. Second guessing that little creative voice in my head. And I'm like, and I'd be like, nah. I'm like, I should have did that. Then I get that feeling, oh, it's past its time. I missed the opportunity, blah, 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 when all that's bullshit.
And I'm going to say that everyone is going to pick something different from what they've heard thus far, whatever you've said, whatever April said. And if you're actually looking for a golden nugget, you probably missed it. Rewind and listen to the podcast over again because something else will stick out this time around. And if you listen to it again, another thing will stick out. I can listen to the same teaching, if it's an instructional video, over and over again and get a different thing from it each time. And so I think that what you're going to get from listening to us is what's applicable to your life in this moment, right this second, right now. Whatever pops out at you right this second, that's what you need right now. Pay attention to it. And that's the small voice. The thing that's calling to you, the thing that's sticking out for you in the moment. That's the small voice.
That's good. That's good.
Oh, thank you.
Do either of you have any final thoughts that you would like to express?
Final thoughts. Just do it. I am Nike, and it's okay.
Ooh.
Interesting. Yeah, final thoughts. Be bold. And watch Chair Gang every week on Facebook Watch.
And as you mentioned that, where can people go online to get more information about Chair Gang and what in stuff that you both are doing?
It's fantastic you asked that, Kelly. They can go to facebook.com/chairgangseries. And on all your social media networks, we are at Chair Gang Series. For me personally, I am April Washko, which is at April Washko. And that's literally the same everywhere you go. So you won't miss that. You won't miss that.
And on social media, I am literally Lyindaa Russell, LYINDAA_RUSSELL. Everywhere. Yeah, Facebook.
Is there anything else that you want to promote that maybe you're working on?
Oh, no. This is enough for people to digest in the moment.
Yeah, you're a bit much, so yeah.
Thank you. I'm extra.
You're extra, yes.
She was the one on the tables. You know it.
I definitely know she was probably on the table.
He says no comment.
I was trying not to make that sound disgusting, but
At the Performing Arts High School.
yeah, not
anywhere
in a
else.
shady bar on 8 Mile. All right, it was great talking with both of y'all.
Thank you so much for having us, Kelly. It was awesome.
Yes, thank you, Kelly.
So that was my interview with April Washko and Lyindaa Russell from the TV series Chair Gang. New episodes of Chair Gang come out each week via Facebook Watch. For more information, just go to the show notes for this episode at freshasthepodcast.com, and there will be links to where you can check out Chair Gang and support the show. All right, that's another interview in the bag. Thank you for listening. Goodbye and good night.
Fresh is the word.